I actually have the biggest beef with that Hannah Montana anniversary special, and I need to get some things off of my chest because one, Disney obviously knew what they were doing calling it a 20th anniversary special instead of a reunion because that thing felt like a COVID meeting on Zoom.
Okay, I finished the Hannah Montana special. Most underwhelming thing I've ever seen in my life. Alex Cooper, just give us nothing, girl. Give us nothing.
The Hannah Montana anniversary special was disappointing.
You found the Hannah Montana special disappointing because it was shallow. Where is the heart of the matter?
People waited years for this, like actually 2 decades, for a full nostalgic reunion with a full cast, the kind that makes you feel like you're sitting in your childhood living room watching Disney Channel after school, but instead what they got was a flop. Everyone's just sitting there like, wait, where is everyone else? Because even though this wasn't labeled a reunion, that's what people thought it was going to be. And honestly, from the previews, that's what I thought it was going to be as well. And they expected this special to hit so hard that they even created merch for it. I was an avid Hannah Montana fan back in the day, so I was really stoked for this 20th anniversary. And you really don't realize what kind of parasocial relationships you have until something like this comes out. Anyway, and when you're sitting there confused, like, where is everyone else? It's because somehow this reunion, this anniversary special, managed to not include half the cast to focus on things that honestly didn't feel that relevant to the show and left a lot of people, including me, feeling more confused than emotional by the end of it. And that's such a weird place to land for something that's supposed to be rooted in nostalgia. I will admit, like, when Miley went back to the set, I did get emotional because she was getting emotional, and I don't know, weird parasocial relationship, as I said. However, as the show went on, I was just like, wait a minute, like, this is not right. Where is everyone else? Where are Mitchell and where is the guy that played Rico? I don't know his name. I just know him as Rico. Where were they at? Because they made the show as well as Jackson. Like, he made the show as well. They were the comedic relief and they were nowhere to be found. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Just the massive disappointment that this 20th anniversary special was. So I think the most important place to start here is expectation versus reality. Because whether Disney explicitly labeled this as a reunion or not doesn't really matter, because culturally that's how people interpreted this. When you hear 20 years of Hannah Montana, your brain automatically fills in what that means. You don't really think, oh, this will probably be a structured sit-down interview with selective guests and curated talking points. You think this is going to be a deep, meaningful moment. Everyone's gathered, they reminisce about the show, they talk about behind the scenes stuff that you may not have known about. It's almost like an old family coming back together, and you're supposed to be able to sit in on that and feel that connection to them. It's supposed to be about stepping back into something that really mattered to you, and it's supposed to be nostalgic, which this just didn't feel nostalgic to me at all. And I will say that, like, nostalgia is very hard to recreate emotion, but there are people and there are shows or networks that do this very well. But nostalgia is not just remembering something. It's like you're stepping back into whatever you're trying to remember. Like, you're stepping back into Hannah Montana. You're taken back to those moments in your childhood. You're witnessing the shared chemistry, the banter, the awkward moments maybe that you didn't know about behind the scenes, or the unfiltered laughter, just things that cannot be scripted because they only exist between the members of the cast and between people who lived that experience together. And that's where this special really struggled, because instead of allowing that to actually happen, actually having the whole cast, having them sit down, having them reminisce on the memories, having them talk about specific scenes. There's even podcasts out there. This Is Us, 3 of the cast members run a podcast. They do that really well. Or even members from The Office, they do that really well. They talk about things on the show, and you get that nostalgia factor. Whereas the show, Disney, didn't really allow that to happen. And I did some research, and apparently Disney was not the one that really produced this. They just kind of slapped their name on it. But it was Alex Cooper, the host of the special. It was her production company, and then also the Tish Cyrus's production company that put this on. So I think that was the first issue, was that Disney itself was not producing this. And so because of that, everything felt super controlled, super scripted, super almost reality TV fake. It was like watching something that had already been decided, had already been scripted, instead of allowing everything to unfold naturally. And that's where it missed the mark. And because of that, it did not feel like a reunion. It felt like a presentation about the show. And not even that. more like a presentation about Miley Cyrus when it should have been a celebration of Hannah Montana as a whole. We're going to watch some videos today about how people are feeling about this Hannah Montana 20th anniversary special. To say the least, people aren't happy. Their main issue from what I could gather was the absence of the core cast. So there's no Emily Osment, no Mitchell Musso. There was Billy Ray Cyrus, but after everything that happened with his newer ex-wife, what came to light there, I don't think we're really interested in watching Billy Ray Cyrus. Then we had Chappell Roan on, we had Selena Gomez, which was okay. Like, I don't have any hate towards Selena Gomez. She was part of the show, just like a very small part. Jason Earls should have been there for sure, and he was just missing. It felt like the whole foundation of the show was missing. And for me, honestly, it just felt like this huge emotional gap that you're constantly aware that's there because you're craving something else, but instead you're getting all this unnecessary information about Miley Cyrus's dating history instead of what was actually going on about the show. Like, it didn't feel like you were talking about anything. You looked at Hannah's old clothes, you looked at her other wigs, but that was it. There's nothing really about the show. It was more so about Miley finally accepting her role as Hannah Montana, thanking her fans for giving her everything she's got, which is not a problem. Like, she should be doing that, but I don't think this special was supposed to be for that.
So I just have like one question for the Hannah Montana reunion. Why was Chappell Roan in it? When I saw her walking, I was like, no, skip. Yeah, that genuinely like set me off. I like some of her music. I'm not like one to bash on someone, but why was she on it? Like, what? Why couldn't it have been like Dolly Parton or I don't know, maybe Jackson or Rico, because they were literally at the premiere. Why couldn't they come in? And her saying, Hannah walked so I could rock. What? It really pissed me off. Other than that, I genuinely did enjoy the reunion. I did. I loved her last song. I liked when she performed. So ignore this, it's just makeup. When she first came out as an artist, I was like, oh my gosh, yay, new artist. She seems so fun. Her music's so upbeat and positive. Then I saw her videos with her fans, and I'm sorry, I just can't get behind that. I just don't know why she's just not nicer to fans and people who are the reason she is where she is. Like, she wouldn't be here without her fans. So, like, I don't know. I'm gonna eat my breakfast now. Sorry for my...
Oh, so there's video evidence of Miley Cyrus not actually being nice to her fans, but yet she put on this whole 20th anniversary special, thanking her fans for letting her be where she is, even though she's rude to them in real life. I'm sorry. If you're not nice to people when there's not a production camera around, we can't stand behind that.
Miley Cyrus barely looked at her fans during an album signing recently, and now the internet's got questions. She was seated next to Naomi Campbell, signing albums for a long line of excited fans, but in the videos going viral, Miley barely makes eye contact. No smiles, no small talk, just signs and passes it along. People online are calling it cold, robotic, and even disrespectful, especially since fans clearly showed up with love. Some argue she was anxious or following strict event rules. Others say if you're going to show up, the least you can do is acknowledge people.
Again, like, why was Chappell Roan there? Like, she wasn't on the show. She had no part of the show. Yes, she looked up to Hannah Montana. She was a fan. Why do you bring a fan that's not famous onto the show? I think that would have been a lot better. But when we heard those heels coming up behind Miley when she was at the little makeup mirror thing, everyone thought for sure it was going to be Dolly. And they teased this in the trailer. If you're not sure, Miley and Dolly are super close. Like, I think she calls her Aunt Dolly or something like that. Dolly was not anywhere on this special. And that's where people were like, wait, those heels weren't Dolly? They were Chappell Roan? Why is she here? And another thing that this creator said was that the cast actually did show up to the premiere. They were there. So why weren't they on the show? Some people say that Emily Osment is in other things, so she had scheduling conflicts, but what about the rest of them?
As much as I loved Hannah Montana growing up and seeing the Hannah Montana 20th anniversary special, there are some things that I was a little disappointed about. Number one, why was Chappell Roan there? Like, that was just so random and bizarre. Like, she was never even on the show. I didn't even know they were, like, friends. But even then, like, to me, that's just so weird. And, you know, I understand why maybe she would have had Selena Gomez there. But, and, like, trust me, I love Selena Gomez. I am a lover of her through and through. I honestly love her more than I like her show more than I loved Hannah Montana, if I'm going to be fully transparent. But like, I felt there was better people to like bring back and just like have a chat with than her. I'm really happy that her dad and her were able to be in a good place to be able to do that together. So I am very happy about that. I'm surprised her like mom was very predominant in it though. I will say that, just because like she wasn't on the show. I love that, you know, her sister did come in at the end, because her sister was playing in the show throughout as like a bunch of different like little random girl characters. The fact that Dolly wasn't there was really sad. The fact that Mitchell Musso and Emily Osment weren't there either. Even Jason Earl not being there was just like so weird to me. And yes, I understand they were at the premiere, all of these characters, but not in her actual like special. That is kind of just weird to me. I get it. It's like, it's about Hannah Montana, but I just thought like, you know, there were little like clip it moments where like her dad came in, Selena came in, Noah came in, you know, like those little like snippet moments. But I wish like they would have had those little snippet moments with like all of the main characters. Even Jake would have been really nice to have in there.
That's what they should have had, was these little snippets of conversations between Miley and the main cast, or even just them sitting around like Love is Blind style, you know, at the reunion, where they're sitting all on these couches and they're just being talked to, asked questions, conversing with each other. That's what it should have been. But instead, it was just Alex Cooper asking Miley questions that I don't really feel like had anything to do with the show. And I felt like the main things I learned from this special was the fact that Miley Cyrus dated Dylan Sprouse, and then as soon as she saw Nick Jonas, it was over. She brought Nick on tour with her because she told them like she didn't want to be away from her boyfriend, so that's why the Jonas Brothers went on tour with her. Why does that matter in regards to the Hannah Montana show? It doesn't.
Having a Hannah Montana TV show reunion with just Miley Cyrus is like having a Friends reunion with just Jennifer Aniston. You can't convince me otherwise.
Yep. Exactly.
It's obviously not happening, so I feel like I can share what I thought was going to be the Hannah Montana reunion now. I really and truly thought that Miley Cyrus was going to headline Coachella, because I know she doesn't like touring, and I really thought that was going to be her way of like a wide audience without having to tour. So that was my theory. Obviously, it's a TV special, but I really thought she was going to headline Coachella.
So this woman, she thought that Miley Cyrus was going to headline Coachella, and instead what we got was a special on Disney Plus. And I think the special was honestly better. I wouldn't necessarily say Coachella is a wider audience. Disney Plus, I'd say, is where you can get your wider audience. Even if people don't want to subscribe to Disney Plus for a long period of time, you can just subscribe and then cancel after you watch the special. But I definitely think that doing it this way, where everyone can see it, is better than just headlining a concert that not everyone can go to. But what I'm seeing from a lot of these little snippets of people's thoughts on the special is that instead of centering on the main characters' relationships, the special brings in people like Billy Ray Cyrus, which him and Miley did not have the best relationship, especially after her parents split. And then with all the stuff I'm seeing about Fire Rose posting about her abuse from Billy Ray Cyrus, I'm actually surprised that Disney let him on the show, knowing what kind of stuff is out there regarding him. There's Tish Cyrus there, Noah Cyrus, Chappell Roan, Selena Gomez, and all of these conversations that they had were very short. I'd say the longest conversation that Miley had was her mom, Tish. And what I found weird, and I'm not sure if anyone else thought this too, but she was actually calling her mom Tish, like flip-flopping between mom and Tish.
Well, Tish, and that's because of my mom.
If I called my mother by her first name, I don't think that would go well. On paper, like, I don't think any of these choices are necessarily wrong. Billy Ray Cyrus was a main character in the show. He played Miley's dad. So it makes sense, like, regardless of the backlash, why he would make an appearance there. Tish Cyrus was behind the scenes, so helping out with wardrobe and everything like that. She wasn't a character on the show. Chappell Roan was not on the show at all, Selena Gomez was. So some of these options make sense, but when you merge them together into something that's supposed to be celebrating Hannah Montana, something that's supposed to be for the fans, we didn't know Tish was behind the scenes, so she didn't really need to be on set. But bring in the other characters. That's what your fans wanted. Because now instead of the show being the center, it was Miley being the center. And I felt that deep to my core. A lot of people on Reddit, I was searching the Reddit threads and looking up what other people thought of the special, because I was honestly just flabbergasted and really disappointed after watching it. I was like, this seems like a vanity project for the Cyruses, if I'm being honest. A lot of people thought that Miley is an egomaniac, so that's someone who is obsessively self-centered and preoccupied with themselves, frequently exhibiting an inflated, grandiose sense of self-importance, which honestly from the show, I did get that sort of vibe. Another thing that really hit was the absence of Mitchell Musso, along with all the other cast members, but there was speculation that Mitchell Musso was not allowed on the show that Disney was, I guess, producing, in quotation marks, because I don't know how much of a say they got in producing this or if they even produced it at all. But some people speculated that Mitchell Musso was actually blacklisted from Disney because of all the legal problems he had in his past. Apparently he had a DUI. There have been a lot of controversies and things that could hurt Disney as a brand, so they kind of distanced themselves from Mitchell Musso. And from a corporate perspective, I can see how that would influence decisions. But from a storytelling perspective and from a viewer perspective, it felt lacking, it felt incomplete. And if you couldn't make it actually on the show, then that would be different, but I don't even think he was invited. The most we got of Mitchell Musso was Miley thinking that she thought he was cute, and that's it. That's all we got. And when something is missing, it doesn't go unnoticed, because you can't choose which parts of a shared memory are allowed to exist because the audience remembers all of it. We want to remember all of it. Nostalgia is something that you can't curate in that way, and that's why people are so disappointed, because they expected something full of nostalgia, something to take them back to their childhood living room. And instead what we got was a Miley Cyrus, Billy Ray Cyrus, Tish Cyrus vanity project. Fans didn't sign up for that. We didn't want that. Another thing that people had issues with was Alex Cooper as a host in general. They just say that she's not a good host. Apparently Alex shut down a lot of things Miley wanted for the show because Alex was producing it. She didn't really give Miley a lot of creative freedom, supposedly, allegedly, but a lot of people didn't like her as a host. I do not listen to the Call Her Daddy podcast ever, except for one time when Bethany Joy Lentz was on it talking about her cult-like experiences, because I love One Tree Hill. And I also did listen a little bit when Sarah J. Maas went on it because I'm a huge book nerd. But other than that, I don't listen to Alex Cooper at all. So I don't really know what kind of style she has, or, you know, I haven't listened to her long enough to kind of put a label on what I think her style is. People thought that she was just not a great interviewer, that she did the special injustice, and that she shouldn't be hosting it. So let's watch people's reactions.
All I'm saying is I'm watching the 20th reunion of Hannah Montana, as you can see right here, and having Alex Cooper as the host, I don't love it. I don't love it. I feel like she kind of ruined it for me, and I'm just like maybe 20-30 minutes in, but I just feel like they should have somebody else host it.
Fair. I do wish she went into why she thought someone else should host it, but this wasn't just a one-person opinion. There was a lot of people on TikTok that just did not like Alex Cooper hosting this. Some people in the comments said Alex Cooper ruined it. Sorry. I think Tish's company and Disney/Hulu could have handled this alone. This could have easily been a multi-episode special or docuseries. Taylor got an 8-episode special for a 2-year-long tour, but Hannah Montana gets 53 minutes for a 6-year-long show. Yeah, make that make sense. I think fans were expecting a little bit more. It felt really rushed, to be honest. Alex could not keep a clear flow. She kept switching topics right when Miley was saying something interesting and asking stuff she's already answered a million times. I wish they went more into the behind the scenes of Hannah Montana and what it actually took to turn a 12-year-old into a global brand. That would have been way more interesting, maybe even as a documentary. I think that would have hit better if all the other cast members were part of it. I loved Miley Cyrus back in the day, but I do think there's other elements to that show that I liked more. Especially the dynamic between Jackson and Rico, Mitchell's character, I forget his name, but his character and Rico. And there's just so much to this series that I really liked as a kid. I will say though, after I watched the reunion, I tried to go back and watch Hannah Montana the movie, and I had to turn it off. It was honestly not as great as my childhood self thought it to be. Someone else said it was just weird to me how it was only made to be about Miley. I get it. She was Hannah and was the lead. However, there were plenty of times where Rico and Jackson had their own storyline, or Lily, or Oliver. Oliver, that's his name. It was just weird to make it all about Miley instead of the show as a whole. We've already gone over that, but I wholeheartedly agree. Hated it all pretty much. It was basically the Call Her Daddy podcast on the set of Hannah Montana. It went everywhere and nowhere at the same time. So the TikTok that these comments were on says Alex Cooper responds to Hannah Montana backlash as unwell produced the anniversary special. So let's watch what this creator has to say.
Raise your hand if you were slightly disappointed in the Hannah Montana 20th anniversary special. Host Alex Cooper is responding to the backlash from the Hannah Montana special in her IG stories. Before you go and say, why is everyone taking it out on Alex? At the premiere, Miley Cyrus says she chose Alex Cooper for this position because she was a mega Miley Cyrus and Hannah Montana fan. However, I dug a little deeper because it didn't make sense that she would trust Alex Cooper in this process full force. Turns out the two production companies responsible for the Hannah Montana anniversary special is Tish Cyrus's small production company, Hopetown Entertainment, which mainly produces Cyrus family-backed projects. The large hand in the production of this anniversary special was Unwell Network, Alex Cooper's production company. When Alex went to her IG stories, she claimed that the interviews with Miley initially lasted 2.5 hours. She said that it was originally going to be 3 hours long and she had to cut it down to 59 minutes. In full honesty, Miley carried the 20th anniversary special. And unfortunately, it seems like Unwell, along with Disney and Hulu, dropped the ball on their part.
They definitely did. Like I said, I think it would have been better if all the cast members were there. I think the feedback would have been very different. Fans would have been a little bit happier. I'm sure there would be some things that people would nitpick, but overall, it shouldn't just been about Miley Cyrus. The show was way more than her. Even though she was the lead, the show was about so much more than just Miley Cyrus and Hannah Montana. And even if Miley isn't actually an egomaniac, I think the way that this was produced kind of gave people the impression that she was. I don't know how much of a hand she had in not having the other cast members there, but when the narrative focuses more on personal experience rather than what happened on the show, people are going to draw that conclusion. I think if you're going to do nostalgia, it can't be from a very controlled, very curated perspective. It has to be kind of on the fly, authentic, people talking over each other, laughing, like podcast style stuff. But when you try to streamline that and make it marketable, make it a business thing over what the fans actually want, then it just misses the mark. And then you get the kind of feedback that this Hannah Montana special is receiving. They're not getting what they came for, which is that feeling of connection. At the end of the day, I don't think it was terrible. It just was missing a lot of key components to make it successful. I think the performances that Miley did and the song she did at the end were very good. But let me know, were you a Hannah Montana fan when you were a child? Did you watch the reunion? And if so, what did you think about it? God bless you all, and until next time.
Welcome to Plot Twist Please, where we sip, flip, and spill the tea on books and booze.
I'm Beth.
I'm Susannah.
And I'm Cass, your trio of book besties, bringing the drama, the hot takes, and a drink in hand every episode.
Whether it's fantasy, romance, or total chaos, if there's a wild plot twist, we're talking about it.
We'll laugh, we'll rant, and we'll probably spiral into a tangent about morally gray characters.
Grab your favorite drink, enchanted or otherwise, and come hang out with us every week.
Because let's be honest, sometimes the best part of a book is spilling the tea about it. Plot Twist Please, streaming now wherever you can get your podcasts.